The man was eager to find answers. He had met someone truly special, someone whose presence made everyone around them feel better. This person wasn't just kind or talented. There was something deeper, something he couldn't quite explain. Curious to understand what made them so different, he now found himself sitting in a dimly lit room, face to face with them. He was sitting with a psychic, known for revealing hidden truths better than anyone else. Holding a photo of the person, he hoped it would help solve the mystery. Want blessings to flow? Type 111 and let it manifest. The psychic took the photo with a calm, knowing smile. She looked at it closely, her fingers gently tracing the edges as if she could feel something through it. She felt something more than just the picture. Her eyes closed for a moment, and when she opened them, they were full of wonder. "This person," she began, her voice gentle but sure, "is not ordinary. Their energy has a special purpose, something rare and very meaningful. They are meant to be a guiding light for others. But their path won't be easy." The man leaned in, both puzzled and curious. He hadn't expected to hear this, but her words touched something deep inside him. "What do you mean by a guiding light?" he asked quietly. The psychic gently placed the photo on the table and looked into his eyes. "Their soul," she said, "has been shaped by pain, loss, and struggles that most people wouldn't be able to handle. But instead of breaking them, these experiences made them stronger and more caring. It's like they were shaped by fire, coming out brighter and tougher. Keep this mission alive by donating through the thanks option." Could this really be true about the person he knew? They had always seemed so happy and calm. Was there pain hidden behind that smile? Pain he had never seen? The psychic seemed to sense his doubt. "You only see what they choose to show you," she said softly. "But their strength, their light, it hasn't come easily. And the road ahead will ask even more from them." The man's heart sank. "Are they in danger?" he asked. The thought made him feel cold with worry. The psychic shook her head. "Not in the way you're afraid of," she said gently. "But their journey will be very hard. Tests that most people couldn't handle. They are meant to face big challenges, but they have the strength to get through them and even inspire others by how they keep going." Her words were heavy. The man felt a swirl of emotions, concern, awe, and confusion all at once. He felt a mix of emotions, responsibility, confusion, even fear. How could he possibly help someone so special, someone whose destiny seemed far greater than anything he could understand? "What if I fail them?" he asked, his voice shaking. The psychic didn't answer right away. Then she gave a small, mysterious smile. "You won't," she finally said, "because even your doubt, your care, that's exactly what they need." As the session ended, the man stepped out of the room feeling both enlightened and overwhelmed. He kept replaying the psychic's words in his mind, trying to understand them. One thing was clear. The person in the photo was much more special than he had ever known. Now the big question was, how could he live up to the role the psychic said he was meant to play? Her words echoed in his mind, leaving him deep in thought. The person he looked up to so much was meant to face a tough life full of challenges. But at the same time, they were also meant to shine in ways most people never could. It was a strange mix, strength and struggle, light and pain. Everything felt connected, and he couldn't stop thinking about what the future might hold for them. Would these challenges be too much, even for someone so amazing? The thought of them going through such tough times made him uneasy. Love this content? Subscribe for more inspiring stories. The psychic had mentioned tests that would push the person's spirit to the edge. It wasn't danger in the usual way, she had said, but it was something quieter, but maybe even harder. These challenges weren't about physical danger, but about staying strong, not giving up, and staying true to who you are, even when things get really tough. The man could hardly stand the thought. Why should someone so kind and good have to go through so much? It didn't seem fair. Still, the psychic's words stayed with him. How this person was like a light in the darkness. It was a powerful image, someone others could look to when everything felt hopeless. But a beacon doesn't avoid the storm. It stands right in the middle of it, battered by wind and rain, but still standing strong. The man understood that this was the burden they had to carry. Their strength wasn't just for themselves, it was for others who would need them during their darkest times. His thoughts turned inward. What was his role in all this? The psychic had said he was connected to their path, and that his choices could affect their journey. He hadn't asked for this responsibility, but now he felt its heavy weight. What if he made the wrong choice? What if his actions made things harder for them instead of better? Doubt grew inside him, and he began to question if he could rise to the challenge. Share this video to spread the message of hope. He thought about the person's life and wondered if they even knew about the hard times waiting for them. They always seemed calm and ready to handle whatever life gave them. But was that really true? Were they prepared for the tough tests the psychic had talked about? Or were they walking into the future without knowing the storms coming their way? The man felt unsure. Should he tell them what he had learned, or would that just make things harder for them? The more he thought, the more he understood that the person's strength wasn't just about getting through hard times. It was about facing those challenges with grace and meaning, about keeping their light shining even when it felt impossible. They weren't just strong, they were brave. They weren't invincible, but they had something rare. A strong spirit that wouldn't give up. It was both inspiring and sad at the same time. Even though he was confused, he couldn't deny that their journey had touched something deep inside him. He had never felt this kind of responsibility or admiration before. Whoever they were, and whatever they were meant to do, they had already changed his life in ways he didn't fully understand. Now, all he could do was hope he wouldn't let them down, and that when the time came, he would know how to help. But with this new understanding came fear. He wondered if knowing the truth would change how he saw them. Would he think of them as fragile because of the struggles they had been through? Or would he put them on a pedestal, seeing them as almost superhuman? Neither thought felt right. No, they were still the same person he had always admired. But the psychic's words made things more complicated and harder to ignore. Keep this mission alive by donating through the thanks option. What scared him even more was the thought of telling them what he had learned. What if it changed them? What if knowing they were meant for something great made them doubt themselves? He could imagine them feeling overwhelmed, like they had to meet some impossible standard. They didn't deserve that kind of pressure, not when they were already carrying so much. But keeping it to himself didn't feel right either. It was like hiding something important from someone who trusted him. As days passed, the man began to question everything. How could he protect them without going too far? How could he support them without making them feel like they needed his help? It was a delicate balance, and he wasn't sure he could handle it. Every choice felt like a risk, and no matter what he did, it seemed wrong. The psychic's words about his role in their journey only made him more confused. She said he was important, but never explained how or why. Why was he meant to say something? Or was he meant to do something? Or was just being there enough? The uncertainty was driving him crazy. He didn't want to make things worse, but doing nothing felt just as wrong. Your support means everything. Click thanks to contribute. One night, sitting alone with his thoughts, a new fear came up. What if he had misunderstood everything? What if the person didn't need him at all? Maybe they were strong enough to face whatever was coming without him. Maybe his help would only make things more complicated. The thought made him feel small and powerless. He felt unnecessary, like a bystander in a story that wasn't his to tell. But deep down, he couldn't shake the feeling that he was meant to be part of it. The connection he felt to this person was too strong to ignore. He didn't know if it was fate, chance, or something else, but it felt real. And if the psychic was right, his role, whatever it was, would matter, even if he didn't fully understand it. In the end, the man was caught between two hard choices. Should he keep what he had learned to himself, trusting that the universe had a plan for both of them? Or should he share the truth, even if it might change everything? He worried that telling the truth might change the person in ways he couldn't imagine. It was a question with no easy answer, and the weight of it grew heavier every day. Type Amen if you believe in the power of prayer. After days of struggling with these thoughts, the man quietly realized something important. He wasn't going to find all the answers. The psychic's words had opened a door but didn't give him a clear path. He couldn't control the future, and he couldn't fully protect the person from what was coming. But what he could do was trust. Trust in their strength and in the journey ahead. He decided to trust in their strength, trust in the journey, and most of all, trust in the unseen forces guiding their lives. He chose not to tell them what he had learned, at least not yet. It wasn't because he wanted to keep secrets or doubted their ability to handle the truth. He believed some paths are meant to be walked without knowing everything ahead of time. If the person knew about the hard times coming, it might confuse their choices or make them doubt their own feelings. And their instincts, he realized, were part of what made them so special. In the end, the man felt calm and determined. He didn't have all the answers, and he didn't need to. His role wasn't to fix every problem or predict the future. It was to be there, to walk beside the person, support them when they needed it, and trust that they could find their own way. It wasn't the role he had imagined, but it was one he was ready to accept. For the first time in weeks, he felt peace. He felt calm and at peace. Claim your blessings by typing 111 in the comments.